Bookie Beatdown coming at you, Paul and Cody. Breaking down UFC 326 from Las Vegas, Nevada. The BMF title is on the line, Cody.
And the interim lightweight title, I believe, as well. I don't know why they just didn't leave it as a one-title fight, but two titles on the line.
The interim light? Is it actually?
I'm pretty sure it is, no?
Oh, I thought it was just the BMF belt.
I'm going to have to double-check my sources on that one, but I'm pretty sure it was an interim lightweight title fight as well.
Gaethje just won the interim title.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's too many titles.
This is the BMF belt. I mean, hardcore fans, we don't need some silly little, belt about who's a badass. If you watch MMA, you know Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira 2 is a fight that needed to happen because, frankly, the first time that they fought, if you've never seen it before, it was like the esophagus tear, questionable whether Oliveira quit. That was a totally different Charles back then. He didn't have the bleach blonde hair. He was a prospect that was just like, you saw the talent with the submission skills, but we questioned his heart sometimes. That fight was at 145 pounds. Once he moved up to 155, he went on one of the craziest runs ever. Like all of his talents kind of came together. So him versus Holloway, I mean, these guys are badasses. They don't need a belt to prove it. In the main event, we got Max Holloway as a minus 230 favorite to come back on Charles Oliveira is plus 195. I mean, conventional wisdom would probably say, I think Charles is going to struggle to take down Max Holloway. Everyone who fights Max Holloway typically ends up struggling trying to take him down. So if it takes place on the feet, Max's volume and even like how much he's stepping into his strikes recently, he's got a lot more power than he did earlier in his career. Charles has some wrestling ability. He has some ability to like take guys down and hang out in their guard. We've seen that in a few fights. He did that against like Tony Ferguson. I believe he did that in the Michael Chandler fight a little bit as well. The BMF title is on the line. I don't think he's coming out here and trying to lay and pray in this fight. If you were to bet Charles Oliveira, I'm not exactly reinventing the wheel here, you bet him by sub. Like him by sub.
Nah, man, he can do it all, dude. He's very violent. He'll knock you out as well.
I feel like even if he knocks Holloway down, Cody, here's why I would say if you're going to bet him, you bet him by sub because that's probably the vast majority of his win probability. Even if he knocks him down, I think he's just jumping on the neck. I don't think he's going to like one hitter quitter knock out Max Holloway. I suppose a world could exist where he knocks him down, gets on top, tries to sub, gets to mount, and finishes with ground and pound. That's where I guess a TKO could kind of screw you on that. But this fight's going to be violent. My official pick, on money line, everything like that, is Max Holloway. I just think he's too hard to take down. Durability, historically, unless you're looking at like Ilia Topuria, who knocks out everyone, including Charles Oliveira, is very, very good. Maybe it's waning a little bit at this stage in his career, but like that volume is just so hard to keep up with. Charles has to capitalize on a big moment. Max is the better overall fighter over the course of 25 minutes. Your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I agree with all your points. It's a very volatile fight. Both guys are world-class in every sense. They can wrestle, they can grapple, they can strike, they had durability. Charles now has heart, and both of them have an insurmountable amount of heart. So in many ways, it's like both guys are more than capable of winning, but you have to look at the consistency of Max Holloway. He's just got the better boxing, the better technical abilities. And in a lot of ways, is that Charles is very hittable. He's very open. And some of those shots that are stinging guys like Dustin Poirier, look back to the first round of Holloway-Poirier, those same shots, I think, do put Charles out. Charles is the UFC submission leader. He's the UFC finish leader. He's obviously very dangerous. And in Max Holloway's point, hasn't been submitted in a really long time. Stuffs the majority of the takedowns. But yeah, Ilia Topuria did knock him out. And even after the Topuria fight, his last fight against Dustin Poirier, he did get knocked down. He is getting older. There's definitely a world that exists where Charles Oliveira throws a knee up the middle and hits him with something, or maybe a head kick followed by a left hook. The thing about Charles is that he's absolutely dangerous everywhere. As you mentioned, could be a club and sub, could be a straight up knockout, could be he grabs onto a neck in a sloppy transition of some sort. But at 155 pounds, Max Holloway just looks like he's on another level. He does everything right. The takedown defense has historically always been good, but even if you do manage to take him down, he just doesn't accept position. Ilya Topuria took him down twice, right? Held him down for like 47 seconds combined between both of them. So for Charles, yeah, he's got a 25-minute gas tank, but Holloway can match that. If we're looking at durability, it's still advantage Holloway. If we're looking at technical striking abilities, it's Holloway. In 155 pounds, he packs way more power than he did at 45, where he'd hit you 300 times and you'd still be standing. And that's not exactly the case here anymore. So more often than not, Max wins. But again, anytime you can get Charles Oliveira for plus money, he's going to fight for your money. He's going to give you the best of his abilities. He's a very high level guy. You and I both were on Armin Saruki and heavy at UFC 300 over Charles. And like even in the waning minutes of the third round, he grabs onto this Dar's choke. He's always dangerous. So Max better mind his P's and Q's, but better yet, Max better knock him out within the first 2 rounds before he starts to fatigue a little bit and Charles just becomes a violent man. Last but not least, I've been seeing a lot of the narrative like, well, if Charles does take him down, he's just going to sub him. It's like Charles had Michael Chandler down for 20 minutes. He sub Michael Chandler? No. That second fight. But all I'm saying is Chandler had one opportunity, shots to the back of the head. It was a little bit greasy, but that one opportunity Chandler had, if this is Max Holloway, he's probably putting you out. He's putting you out. So, yeah, I got to go with the Hawaiian to get the job done. They're both massive fan favorites. They both have a ton of fanfare, ton of fan support. So I understand why it's a very popular fight for people to be debating. I understand that the value side is probably Charles because he's always dangerous and he's plus money. But I'm looking at consistency and who wins more often than not. And Max Holloway's the better all-around fighter for me. So in the rematch, give me a Holloway. I'll take a first-round knockout just like the first time. I'll take an esophagus tear like the first time. But if I have to take him out in the second round, late B, or, just rack up an accumulation of strikes over the course of 3-4 rounds, don't see it going the distance. But even in that scenario, the body of work should be done by Max Holloway. So blessed is the pick for me.
If they fought 10 times, how many times do you think Holloway wins?
2 or 3. Well, definitely 2. But I'd say like
Holloway, I said. So
Holloway.
7 or 8?
Yeah. 7.
Then that would mean that the line is either completely accurate at minus 230 or a little bit short.
Yeah. Well, again, if you're the value side,
70% of the time would be like minus 233.
Which they're not. They're fighting twice.
They're only fighting
I already fought once and I won. Now I gotta do it again. So
I know. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know if the value is on Charles's money line at this point.
It's probably accurate at what it's lined at, but
I honestly think his sub line is like basically accurate, which is which is close to plus 400.
I will give you a PRP preview. Max Holloway's on the top line, but if we're getting to the end and you've got 5, 6, 7 guys intact, you got a nice parlay you're sitting on. I'm hedging because it's Charles Oliveira.
There will be a lot of hedge outs on parlays if they get there.
If they're juicy
on this card on Charles Oliveira. So that
top line or top 2, but if we get top 3, top 4 lines, yeah, because Charles is that guy.
That number will probably crash on fight day because of all that parlay hedging going on. Seen that before, but you need a whole bunch of these other favorites to kind of come through before those parlay hedges are really capable. So Caio Borralho takes on Reinier de Ritter. Caio minus 250 favorite to come back on Reinier plus 210. Reinier says that he's all good, all 100% again after the Brennan Allen fight, where frankly, I mean, his body shut down on him. I will give him the grace of saying that instead of saying like he quit or anything like that. But it was not a great look. He did not look like himself. I will say that. I just look at this matchup between him and Caio, and I just say, like, I think Caio's probably one of the worst matchups in the organization for him right now. Got like great durability from everything that we've seen. The chin is definitely great. The striking has come leaps and miles from where it used to be, a few years ago. Like just dancing around Jared Cannonier. He really proved a lot to us on the feet in that fight of just like how far his striking has come along. Because most people are like, oh, he's going to wall install. He's going to take down Jared Cannonier. He's going to play that game. Nah, he just outstruck him for 5 rounds, right? So everything that you kind of look at, kind of like Reiner's very, very awkward. Maybe he can force some sort of weird scramble. some weird transition, land a front kick up the middle. MMA is a crazy bitch, but I just don't really see too many paths to victory for Reinier here. What about you?
Yeah, no, honestly, I got Caio Borralho as well. With Reinier de Ridder, I'm not trying to knock on the guy, but he definitely had something going on in that Brandon Allen fight. Whether it's he fought, I think it was his 5th fight in 11 months, and he was overtrained, or he was sick, and then he said his body didn't recover for months and months afterwards. He would walk up a flight of stairs and he'd be winded, and he is 35 years old. And at 185 pounds, the guy cuts 35 pounds to make the weight. And at 35, it ain't gonna get no better. This is a 5-round fight, Kyle, all day long. It is a 3-round fight. So, I mean, if he can just kind of manage himself for 2 of the 3 rounds, because let's face it, this thing's likely going the distance, and it's probably not going to win fight of the night. If he can just manage his energy for 2 of the 3 rounds, maybe he can grease it by on the scorecards. But I'm not a giant fan. Keep in mind his body shut down, right, against Brandon Allen, and it's a TKO due to retirement. So technically quits. The last time that he lost a fight was over in one championship against a very juiced up big man. Don't get me wrong, but it's a 4th round TKO due to retirement in the middle of the round where he looks at the ref and he's like, I've had enough. So when you talk about the Max Holloways of the world and the Charles Oliveira after he started dyeing his hair blonde and got a horse, those guys don't quit. That's what makes them world champions. Whereas Reinier, yeah, he is technically a world champion and one championship, but it's a big old weight cut for him. He's 35 years old. His super awkward flailing style. Here's what people don't realize, okay? This awkward flailing style of his is only really predicated on the step-in knee. And the step-in knee is working because he's southpaw stepping into the knee against primarily orthodox fighters. Robert Whittaker fights orthodox. Brandon Allen fights orthodox. Last time he fought a southpaw was Gerald Mearshart, and the knee not working there. And all of a sudden, Gerald Mearshart's giving him go, Paul, till he subbed him in the 3rd round. But that's GM3. Okay, so that's a little bit concerning to me. Beyond that, he subs Kevin Holland, who's a welterweight, known to get taken down in sub. Nothing impressive there. The Whittaker fight, I don't know, was probably a bias because I had money on Whittaker, but Whittaker won. Got held up against the cage a little bit and walked into some step-in knees, but otherwise, I thought it.
And then, Bo Nickel got fraud checked. Let's face it.
Bo Nickel's going to be good, but he needed to get fraud checked like a Peyton Talbot earlier on. And yes, he took advantage of a basic version of Bo that really didn't want to take him down because he's this vaunted grappler. And so now you're forced to strike, and Bo's striking really wasn't good at the time. So again, Bo Nickel, a guy that the step in knee is going to work on, but I just don't think Caio Borralho's got excellent jab. So he's going to disrupt that. Beyond that, it's like there was a point in time where Caio Borralho wasn't really known for his volume or his really being able to strike for a prolonged period of time. But the Jared Cannonier fight changed all of that.
Yeah.
He landed 153 significant strikes over the course of 5 and damn near knocked Jared Cannonier out. So when you look at his last 4 fights, he's not completed a single takedown in his last 4 fights. A little bit concerning, but it shows that he's worked on all of his other skills and he's well rounding out his game. But we all know he can grapple. We all know he can shut you down and have a boring fight. He used to do it all the time. But now he's fighting a little more aggressive. He's using striking. He's got some volume. You mentioned his durability. You seen the chin on this guy? The HGH has grown his head. But as a result, I think his durability is in check. His cardio is in check. Nasruddin Imavov, you went 25 minutes with one of the best strikers in the division. You didn't even take him down once, and you still went to 25. If that doesn't scream this guy defensively can strike and offensively kept it relatively close. If you look at that fight, there's 5 rounds. He outstruck Imavov in 2 of the 5 rounds. Got outstruck in 3. Really? Yeah, it was a 49.
It was in France, so it's like anything close was going to Nasruddin. But
yeah, he started off slow, but you could see he was building up. And again, if this is a 5-round fight, I got Borralho all day long, but it's only a 3, so he's going to have to put his foot on the pedal. But it's not like Reinier de Ridder's got really this classic wrestling background. He's got a judo background, so his little foot sweeps and his little trips are pretty good. He's big, he's solid in the clinch. He's going to be able to muscle you around. But if he gets a quick little trip, is Borralho just going to accept the position? Maybe not. If he doesn't get the trip, well, now it's you flailing these overhands plus these step-in knees against a fellow southpaw who, again, is going to disrupt you. Straight lefts down the middle. Jab, jab, jab. Circle off the outside. At 35, I have less confidence that he's suddenly just going to become a better version. And if you're like a narrative guy, Borralho grappled Brandon Allen in a grappling match like a few months ago. A few months back, anyways, and soundly beat him. He's a better grappler. He's a better grappler than Brandon Allen. And Brandon Allen, a shut-down version of Reinier de Ridder. But I'm just saying, if you're looking at who's he fought the level of success. For me, it's just like you got a big guy. That's all he really does well. He's a very big guy. And against Borralho, I think he's going to be able to go out there and manage that. So, yeah, I got the Brazilian to win as well. This thing's, in my opinion, going to decision. It's going to hit over 2.5. It'll be a Borralho by decision, but I think all of those, for the majority, are going to come in.
Yeah, I'll give De Ridder the benefit of the doubt that maybe his body wasn't right, but I'm not going to give him the win because, like, frankly, you just have to you just look at the stats totals on their significant strikes, and it's like it's nowhere close to each other. We haven't seen De Ridder, and when De Ridder is forced to fight a high pace, he tends to gas out and slow down quite a bit. So yeah, a Borralho decision is plus 130-ish. Don't mind that. Or the over 2.5, minus 190. Fight goes to decision, minus 165. That's how I would attack this fight. You can, and Caio on the money line, I don't mind either. But yeah, lots of different ways to peel that onion. Moving on down, we got Raul Rosas taking on Rob Font. Raul Rosas, a minus 225 favorite. The comeback on Font plus 190. We were talking about this one just before we came on the show, and I was just like, if you were going to bet Rob Font, it's probably pretty unlikely. Have you seen the cinder block on Mexico Jay Leno's head?
Oh yeah,
right. That chin is just. Good luck knocking that thing out. Good luck, Rob Font. And Rob Font, great striker, much better striker in this fight. But it's he's not. I would be pretty surprised for him to one-hitter quitter Raul Rosas early in this fight. Raul Rosas will get takedowns. The question becomes, how long is Raul Rosas able to hold him down and maintain top control? Is he able to sub him when he gets down there? How much control can he get? Because Rob Font, horrible takedown defense, great get-up game. We see it over and over. He's getting taken down by lesser wrestlers than Raul Rosas all the time. But he gets back up. And we've seen Raul Rosas slow down over the course of the fight. This is all to say, I think Raul Rosas is going to win. If I was forced to play it right now, I'd probably take, Raul Rosas on the money line, minus 225. I don't feel that confident in playing him, to be perfectly honest, because I do worry about him gassing as the fight wears on. And I feel like I'm just going to have a way better read for actually putting money into this fight. I'm going to have a way better read within 3 minutes of watching these guys go at it. Does Rob Font get back up? Because he's getting taken down early. So if Rob Font gets back up in the first 2.5 minutes, you're probably getting plus 300 after that takedown. So that's where that's where my mind is at from a betting perspective. But if I was forced to click a button right now, it would be Rosas minus 225. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Rosas, but a lot of it's you're just trying to believe, and you're believing that this kid is still only 21 years old, so it's very hard to gauge how he's going to look in his next performance. When you look back at the fight versus Vince Morales, it's not good. It's not good. I thought he won, but there's a debate that you could make an argument that Vince Morales won that fight. Certainly, he lost the second round and then rallied a little bit in the third, but his cardio is not that good. Once he does get you to the ground, he's more of just a lay and pray guy. No big ground and pound, no big submission threat. It's definitely big for 135 pounds, and the older he gets, these weight cuts are not not helping him. But again, he's 21 years old, so when you're fighting a full-grown man like Vince Morales, who wrestled in college and also is a BJJ black belt and also is one of the head coaches at Syndicate MMA, okay, maybe he's going to be able to exploit a thing or two on you. When you watch back him versus Christian Rodriguez, he looks really good in the first round, gets the body triangle, controls, easy money. Second and the third round, he starts to tire. He's not getting the takedowns. I'm not saying Christian Rodriguez is a full-grown man because he's a kid too, but in comparison, you got an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old Raul Rosas fighting. It's very hard to gauge now how he's going to look in this fight. My brain tells me he's going to look really good. My heart tells me I'm not really sold on this kid, but the UFC's got something they can market there, and they realize at this point, okay, he needs to take on a name fighter. He needs to take on someone with some name cachet, but he might not really all be that good. All he has is his wrestling. So in comes Rob Font, which is the perfect matchup for him because Rob Font is most definitely a big name within the division. He's fought all the best guys in the division, and his like big kryptonite is he cannot wrestle. That's always been the issue for him. I look back at this Corey Sandhagen fight because I was live for it in Nashville, but Corey Sandhagen went 7 for 7 on takedowns and had 19 and a half minutes of control time over a 25-minute period of time. He also tore his bicep and still had the 7 for 7 on takedowns and the 20 minutes of control time. Davidson Figueiredo, former flyweight champ, but he's a flyweight. Took him down 4 times on 7 attempts. Kyler Phillips, 4 times on 5 attempts. John Matsumoto, 7 times on 10 attempts.
He's been taken down. Even a good wrestler.
Matsumoto's not even a wrestler. He was a young kid who was just a striker. Very raw in that striking, athletic kid. And he managed up to go 70% on his takedowns, 7 for 10. Over that course of 4 fights, because David Martinez shot 2 but didn't really commit, and is not really a wrestler at all. But those 4 guys went 22 of 29 on takedowns on him. There's been a few where he's been able to scramble up. Yes, you're right. The Davidson Figueiredo fight, the Kyler Phillips fight where he ended up winning, the John Matsumoto fight, which he ended up winning. He's able to largely scramble up on those. The Corey Sandhagen fight, no, not at all. And you see sometimes that a big, strong guy that gets the takedown is going to be able to rack up some control time on him. There's nobody arguing that Rob Font is going to chew this kid up on the feet. It's can Rob Font stuff takedowns. He's 38 years old now. He is a savvy veteran of the game, but yeah, he's going to start to slow down. And by slow down, that last fight with David Martinez was that. This guy used to striking affairs, okay? He landed 176 on Cody Garbrandt. He landed 149 on Jose Aldo. He landed 271 on Marlon Vera. And yet his last fight versus David Martinez, which was entirely a striking affair, he landed 49. He's slowing down. He's coming off a bad performance, and yet he's got name value. This is a good fight for Raul Rosas Jr. on paper, but it really comes down to, can the kid get the takedowns, and will the kid gas out? And again, you look at his last fight, so, well, he did get the takedowns, and he did gas out, and he still won. This fight, he's probably going to be a better version of himself because he's young and ever improving. So if he was just Raul Rosas Jr., some Mexican prospect that fights the way he does, the UFC would be out. He's not a star. Nobody loves, he's not over with the crowd. It's the Chihuahua effect. Everybody loves it, Paul. Myself included. Yeah, I'm in on it. I'm in on it. I just want to see him win so I could get a Chihuahua, and then we can move on to the next one. And so, yeah, unfortunately, that comes at the expense of Rob Font. Now, Rob Font's training at TriStar in Montreal for as a hobby. They're going to have an excellent game plan for him. He's training with guys like Eamon Zahabi. His takedown defense has improved, whether you want to agree or not, but against a big, strong kid who's 17 years younger than you, for at least 29-28, sure, 29-28 for sure. But I think 2 of these 3 rounds are going to be racked up by a lot of control time by Raul Rosas Jr., and inevitably he ends up taking the decision. So it's another fight that if you don't like the money line and you just look at the decision prop or the over 2.5, something like that, because one hitter quitter on a chin like that, forget about it. Plus, you hit Cody Garbrandt almost 150 times significantly and couldn't put him down. So your power is just not it, kid. But could you outwork him if you can keep it standing? Yes. We all agree there. I'm just not convinced he's going to be able to keep it standing for long enough. So, Raul Rosas for myself.
I mean, the Matsumoto fight, he got taken down 7 times. Was able to get up and won the decision because he was able to put up 95 significant strikes. So it would be a similar type of performance to that. If Rob Font wins, it's going to be probably like a greasy split decision type of situation where he gets taken down a bunch, but he gets back up.
Yes.
And they're rewarding damage over control time. Like, that's most of probably how this fight plays out in a Rob Font wins. Or he gets taken down, held down. That's why I kind of said, I know I was waffling on the pick. I don't really plan on betting this fight all that much, if at all, pre-flop. But yeah, I think Raul Rosas will get those takedowns early. So it's like, if I was forced to play something pre-flop, it would be Raul Rosas because I think he's going to get those takedowns. And I don't know if Rob Font can get back up. Does that make sense? I know it sounds like I'm waffling. I'm trying to pick both sides. I'm not trying to pick both sides. I'm trying to pick Raul Rosas, for the people who be like, oh, they're just saying both sides of the thing. It's just like, I am, but I'm saying like, because there's the unknown. The unknown. If Rob Font pops back up, I'm probably betting Rob Font. If he does that like on the first takedown, that would be a real tell for me.
If you got a book that offers like over under on 4.5 takedowns, 5.5 takedowns, like he racks them up. But you're
I bet you
right.
it's probably
As
wider
a
than you
Raul
think.
Rosas Jr. better, you want him to get 2 or 3, and that's all you need. You don't want him to have to be shooting 7, 8 or landing that many because
He'll get tired.
yeah, and then it comes down to the value side. The value side is Rob Font's in a lot of close splits, just like the Masimoto fight. And Raul Rosas Jr.'s style is takedowns in control time, but that's it. He doesn't do anything else. And in Vegas, especially, they're looking at damage over control time. So, yeah, the value side is fun. But again, I'm looking at it on, I think this kid will be better than you've seen in the past. And therefore, it'll be a little more dominant than prior wins. And if he just does a little bit more than he's been doing, he should still get the win. So we got to move on because we could talk circles on this one, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we waffled on that last one, but this one's very clear cut, Cody. We got Michael Johnson taking on Drew Dober. -8, 118 for Michael Johnson. Comeback, I mean, comeback is usually a plus money sign next to it. The underdog, slight underdog to Drew Dober. It's pretty much a straight pick 'em, Cody. Who you got?
I'm going with Michael Johnson. But again, this is one of those fights, and we talked about it before we start recording today. It's like there's just a lot of guys on this card that are just untrustworthy. You know, they're capable of looking like $1 million and winning, and they're very capable of just getting chinned or gassing out or putting in a bad performance just because you got a lot of these. Winner to Ritter is not the only guy whose body is shut down. I've lost money on quite a few of these guys. Now I need to trust some of them. So, my heart's just not quite healed all the way. But a guy like Drew Dober at 37 years old, I think he was always predicated on this big durability, can walk into a punch, give a punch to take a punch, but he's fairly low volume. Like when you watch his overall body of work, his last fight with Kyle Prepel, like he puts up 83. I'll get to that one in a bit. But prior to that, into the third round with Gene Silva, Striker's Delight, only landed 59. Him versus Renato Moicano, he got taken down in control, but had only landed 23. Him versus, I don't know, I suppose a lot of these fights are finished inside the distance, but he's got big power, and he's got more than enough power to shut the lights off on Michael Johnson, but I don't think he's going to catch Johnson with that flush shot, and Johnson's going to start to work him overall. Looking back at his last 4 for Drew Dober, right? So the Moicano fight, he got taken down in control. It is what it is. He's prone to getting taken down possibly. And even though Michael Johnson was a junior college wrestler, I don't see takedown. Yeah, it's not going to be part of this fight. The John Silva fight, he's doing excellent against Silva. He's doing pretty good. It's a cut stoppage. Durability looked good in that fight. He is losing ever so slightly. Then he gets knocked out by Manuel Torres, who's got the gift of God for knocking people out. So you don't want to. I don't actually fault him for any of those 3. It's that last fight with Kyle Prepelic. First round, he looked good. He doubled up Prepelic, who's coming off a really slow start. Guy that's never won a fight in the UFC, although I have a lot of respect for him, right? But he's just trying to analyze that first round to figure it out. The second round, Kyle Prepelic wins the second round. He's not outstriking Dober on the numbers. He's just landing the better shots. You can see Dober's starting to wear damage, and Dober's starting to slow down. The third round starts, and the tide has turned. Kyle Prepelic's at home. He just won the second round. He's got the confidence, and Dober goes and hoofs him in the groin, takes the 5-minute break. They resume, and the second the ref said go, Dober mad dogs him instantly.
Yeah.
Didn't touch gloves. Well, he may have touched gloves. Didn't give him that second to recover. Didn't say, dude, I'm so sorry. Are you good? You're okay, we're good. I get he got 5 minutes, but he pounced on him immediately, and then he gets the knockout. And so to me,
that was an embarrassing night for Canadian MMA because that was in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And that was the same. What was the finish that didn't happen? Frivola versus Kyle Nelson.
Yeah, I could have stopped that one.
They should have stopped it after round. Luckily, the right winner won in the end, but there were plenty of people who had under 1.5s that got absolutely just jobbed on that one.
Just job back.
Big Dan Mergliata has some explaining to do on that one. That's all I'll say about that. Allegedly.
Yeah, that is fair enough. You know what? It's a bad beat, and every bad beats do happen. But it's not so much that's like, oh, he tried to use this to get bailed out. It's the more so that he was in a razor competitive fight with Kyle Prepelic, a guy who had previously been winless in the UFC. When you talk about that chin and that ability to take punches, he's been knocked out in 3 of his last 6 fights, right? So half of his last fights over the last 6, he has been knocked out. And I get those guys are power punchers, but Michael Johnson is a power puncher. He's knocked out Dustin Poirier. He rocked Justin Gaethje in a fight of the year one time, way back when. Power's the last thing to go. If Johnson touches him, he could knock him out. Johnson doesn't knock him out. Johnson's a bigger volume guy. He's got better footwork. You can argue that they're both getting older, but Johnson's constantly popping up in these Kill Cliff FC training videos, fighting all of their mega prospects to the death on the routine. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. I understand the Zellhuber win looks so good in hindsight now, does it? But he dog-walked a young prospect. And I think that's the main thing here is that Drew Dober's not a young prospect. Drew Dober's a little slower than he used to be. He's 2 inches shorter. He's got a 2-inch less in the reach department. Let me just confirm that. Dober 70, Michael Johnson 73. He's given up 3 inches in the reach department and 2 inches in the height department. And again, against a guy that I think is faster than him, better boxing. The thing that this comes down to, Dober is more than capable of knocking out Michael Johnson. It could happen, but Johnson could knock out Dober in return, and more so than that, again, just more consistency, better speed, better boxing combinations, better in and out. Dober's eventually going to get a little reckless and come forward. You catch this guy. Kyle Prepelik's giving him everything he can handle. You're seeing the regression from Drew Dober, whereas Michael Johnson arguably looked pretty good in his last fight. One guy's coming off a bad performance and 3 losses before that. Michael Johnson's on a 3-fight winning streak. He's starting to get paid. He's moving up the ladder. He beats Dober here. He's probably going to fight fringe top 15 contenders moving forward. So you're going to get a good version of Michael Johnson. I think that goes out there and seals the deal. So there's no dog money to be made on this thing. It's a close fight. It's a competitive fight. You can see the path of victory for both guys. But for me, Johnson either detonates one upside that chin or just puts in the better volume over the course of 2 of those 3 rounds and secures a decision of sorts.
And we can say all of these types of things, but you go back to 2022, and Jamie, like I didn't watch this fight in advance, but just like I was just looking through the stats, and I'm like, how does that happen? Jamie Mullarkey, 0 of 2 on takedowns, but 96 to 68 on significant strikes beats Michael Johnson. If they ran that fight back, I don't think I'm making that pick. I'm not making that prediction. Crazy things happen in this sport.
Mullarkey had Johnson out. Johnson is a rock, and Johnson had Mullarkey out. Mullarkey was absolutely rock. It was a crazy, wild fight, but Johnson had a problem with fighting to his opponent's level. If you're good, he comes at you hard. If you're not good, he comes at you a little too hard. But you do see that maturity to him, like he fought Darius Flowers, okay? And then he wrestled him the whole time. Well, why? Well, Flowers is a bum, but he's a pro boxer, terrible pro boxer. But all he has is he can stand and throw punches. Why allow him to do that? Well, you're a fight of the night guy. You're a knockout of the night guy. I'm also a savvy veteran that needs to start relying on some of this veteranship. We'll talk to Cody Durden. Talk about the Durden fight in a bit, but Durden's one of these guys that all the experience is there. It's whether you want to choose to use it. He typically doesn't. Johnson seemingly is. He's doing those right things. He's making his opponents miss. He's making them pay. And although they're both capable of turning each other's lights out, Matt Frovola blasted Drew Dober. Michael Johnson is going to have more than enough opportunity to do it himself. And again, if he doesn't have it, he's still got other skills that he can fall back on to secure the victory.
Yep. We got Gregory Rodrigues taking on Bruno Ferreira in a rematch. Ferreira is a plus 170 underdog. The favorite is Gregory Rodrigues at minus 200. Interesting situation where, we've seen the fight before. Chaos pursued, of course, in that fight. And Ferreira came through as an even bigger dog in that spot against Gregory Rodrigues, but they run it back now, and they still have G-Rod as the favorite. It seemed, a lot of people go, oh, the books just really want to take Ferreira. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're just setting a big old trap. I understand the path to victory. I understand that Gregory Rodrigues is an absolute mountain of a man, absolutely jacked, super, super strong. I think his durability and his head movement has always been lacking. And, this Bruno Ferreira is undersized for this division. He cost me a bag against Marvin Vettori. So I think I've been underestimating this guy. He's had some bad spots, getting subbed by Asupia Magomedov. Nursultan absolutely just ran kind of right through him. Nursultan Ruzabov's dangerous like that. That could happen in this fight. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. They're just dangling that carrot in front of my face, Cody. Plus 170 on Brunno. I've seen this fight before. I think Rodrigues can definitely win this fight, but I do still think he's got like some sort of durability issues, has head movement issues. I don't think he's nearly as fleet of foot. And Brunno's got some pretty good jiu-jitsu. If you do actually decide to take him down, that maybe he can at least get back up or throws up some flashy stuff to force a scramble to get back to his feet. It's dog or pass here for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think I got a slight dog play here on Bruno Ferreira, who's going to be way low this week because I can see the path of victory for Gregory Rodrigues all day long. This guy's pure violence. He's giant for the weight class. He's definitely the better grappler. BJJ black belt, big, strong, physical guy, capable of getting takedowns. And of course, on the feet, throws nothing but hammers. But yeah, cutting to 185 pounds most definitely hurts him. They'll tell you he's young. What do they got him listed as? I totally think this is a lie, by the way.
They have them listed at 9. They're the same age, according to UFC stats. So they're 33.
Yeah, I mean,
32, 33.
He's a big physical guy, but I guess 34 years old. He's not young, he's not old by any stretch, but I feel like he could probably fill out at 205 pounds. Like the guy's 6'3", has a 75-inch reach on him, big, strong, physical guy. And you watch back the Jared Cannonier fight, he looks like $1 million the first 2 rounds. He's got Jared Cannonier almost out of there twice. 3-4-5, well, it doesn't make it to 5. 3-4, he is absolutely gassed. And he blamed the bad weight cut. Comes back his last time out against Roman Kopylov, and I loaded up on him. Kopylov has him hurt in the first round. And then all of a sudden, Kopylov starts to tire and RoboCop takes over. But, I mean, it was one of those fights that defensively, this guy's not sound at all. Doesn't really keep his hands up, walks into a ton of shots, and he's chinny. And I just don't mean, well, Kopylov almost had him out, or Jared Cannonier knocked him down twice and put him out, or Bruno Ferreira knocked him out already in that first encounter. But, I mean, Dog's got a knockout loss to Jordan Williams on the Contender Series in the first 2 minutes. He's not really the most durable guy going. And so when you look at a guy like Ferreira, he's throwing spinning back elbows against Dustin Stolfus. If you can get plus money on a guy who, he's undersized. Well, you know what's good about him being undersized? He's really fast for this weight class. So these blockheads like Marvin Vettori are better fighters than him. They're too slow. And as a result, it's like Marvin Vettori was able to outland him, but Ferreira explodes and lands these big shots. The last time he did this to RoboCop, he flatlined him with it. You know, mixing in a submission win against Jackson McVeigh and stuff like that. I don't really particularly care about that stuff. I don't really think you're going to submit RoboCop Rodrigues, but his grappling's good enough that even if Gregory Rodrigues did get into the ground, he'd probably just work his way back up and then get back to trying to land. If the line was flipped, I'd be making this really good argument for RoboCop being able to use that size and use that pressure. And you know how this guy sets up his traps now because you fought him already. You know, just trying to make the argument for him. But at plus money, Ferreira's a dangerous dude fighting a guy with durability issues who's either shit in an apple pie before or almost shit in an apple pie before. Don't think that you really want to go hard down that RoboCop route. The other thing is that when you imagine, well, what's the path of victory for Ferreira? Just chin him. What's the path of victory for RoboCop? Take the guy down, just like Abus Magomedov did. 4 takedowns, third round head and arm triangle, sets it up nicely. RoboCop could do exactly that. Well, here's the problem with that. Rodrigues hasn't completed a takedown in his last 3 fights. He's not even trying. His last fight with Roman Kopylov, he got taken down twice. So if you're not going to try, and plus the other thing is, guy's got a low center of gravity. He's only 5'10", right? So your opponent is actually kind of hard to take down. And as you're trying to get to the inside, this is where he wants to be, throwing those big shuffle uppercuts, those big overhand rights, those big power shots from close distance. So yeah, it's plus money. Now, if you want to get greedy with it, you'd take Ferreira plus 170, but Ferreira by knockout. I think he's just going to intercept him at some point, put him on wobbly legs, and then finish the job. So. Yeah, underdog 1 for me.
Ferreira by knockout, plus 265 at some, best available, plus 321 that I see on.
You think he's going to outpoint RoboCop? I don't know. He's going to sub him? No. So knockout.
I can see him outpoint him, maybe rocking him, not actually getting the finish, and kind of playing out similarly to the blockhead fight.
Right. Makes sense.
He doesn't have the chin that blockhead.
Right. Marvin took some shots that I don't think RoboCop's taking. If we're
I agree. I totally agree. I'm just trying to, say that is there a possibility of a Ferreira by decision? I think it's still in play. I think that KO is much more likely outcome of the two. So yeah, you're not gonna, I'm not gonna fault. I mean, does it seem like a trap? 100%, but the bookmakers don't know. They don't know what's gonna happen here. Are they lining us up to all are people like I mean, I don't really pay attention to what other people are doing anymore. Are people actually clicking Gregory Rodrigues? Like I just find sometimes it does seem too easy and it doesn't play out, but I don't know. I'll be your huckleberry if you want to dangle that carrot in front of my face. So it is what it is. All right. Potential for a Cody cubed parlay here. We start with Cody Garbrandt taking on Long Xiao. Cody Garbrandt, small underdog. How the mighty have fallen. Plus 125. Long Xiao is a minus 145 favorite. Who you got here, buddy?
It just seems like a trap to me. Like, I guess Long Xiao is capable of winning this fight against this version of Cody Garbrandt. Maybe anybody can beat Cody Garbrandt, but you got a road to the contender guy coming in now as a favorite over a former world champion. It's like, well, yeah, but Cody's chin's gone and Xiao hits. He does, but he's got one knockout win in his last 7 fights. So how hard does he hit? Well, he's got fast boxing combinations. I mean, so does Garbrandt for the most part, but here to me is the biggest thing. If you want to judge a guy on the level of competition, so he fought on Contender Series, Long Xiao did, right, against Christian Quinones, where Christian Quinones knocked him down and also took him down. Loses the fight, no big deal. It's the road to the contender run against Shohei Nose. He got taken down 4 times, 6 submission attempts, so he barely squeaked out a split. Against Shuya Kamikubo, he got taken down 3 times, settled for a majority. Against Xiao Li in his UFC debut, he got taken down twice and lost a split. His fights are always pretty close. It's not like he's got some huge finishing ability. He's got takedown problems for sure. Been taken down in 5 of his last 6 fights. So Garbrandt doesn't usually wrestle for the most part, but he is a former Ohio State champ. His back is really up against the wall, man. He needs a win by any means necessary, even if it's boring. He's got to mix something in. And really, the last time he wrestled was against Trevin Jones, which is a similar fight to this. Guy's got big power, could knock you out, but you just need to take him down and neutralize him. It's boring, but you need the win. So wrestling could be on the table for Cody Garbrandt here. The other thing is that if he doesn't get chinned and he's able to just not outbox Long Xiao, but keep it competitive on the feet, mix in some takedowns, probably got the better footwork, seemingly the better athlete. When I look back at these losses, because everyone's laughing at the guy hard, and I get it, but the losses are Raoni Barcelos. And for the record, he looked really good in the first round against Raoni Barcelos. He's feeling himself, and he's saying, what's up? And then the second and the third round, he's like, oh, no, Raoni's a real one. The guy's a dog on a bone, and he's not going anywhere. And you can see his confidence just deflated. It's a confidence-based guy. If he's feeling good, he's going to be performing well. As soon as you can put that doubt in his mind, it's going to be a big of an issue. And I just don't know that Long Xiao's necessarily that guy. He has looked good. Looks like he's got some okay power. Looks like he's got some good volume. Looks like he's got good cardio and pace. But he's fighting a far less level. How does Long Xiao do against Raoni Barcelos or Davison Figueiredo or Rob Font or Rafael Assunção or Pedro Munoz or TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz? And then I get a lot of those a while ago. But this is by far the toughest guy that Long Xiao's ever fought. You cannot make an argument to the contrary to that. And this is by far the worst guy Cody Garbrandt has fought in a country mile. No, Trevin Jones wasn't very good, and Brian Keller is not really good. So I take that back. That's not true. But this is no doubt a step down in competition compared to the guys he's been losing to. The 2 step downs that I just mentioned, Keller, Trevin Jones, he still beats those guys. He's just not beating the Raoni Barceloses of the world or a former flyweight goat of sorts. And Davidson was never the goat. Man, he was good when he was good. That's just if Garbrandt's losing at this level, right, then his gloves need to get peeled off and he throws them in the center of the cage, and that's it for him. He'd be no good in BKFC because of the durability. He'd be no good in RAF because his body just doesn't hold up for that real grappling grind. Plus, he wasn't a college wrestler, he was just a good high school wrestler. He doesn't fit well for karate combat because they don't actually pay you. So what do? You want to go to ACA? Get your head smashed in for $100,000? Probably not. So a win here would be real important. And I think he's going to come in good shape, hopefully. But more importantly, he's going to fight a smart game plan, which is not engage this guy and straight up fist fight in the middle of it. It's like, take the guy down. One good thing about this is that when you look at this card, there's zero chance you getting fight of the night, dog. Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira's on it. So just settle for a shitty fight. No one's going to care at the end of the night because the main event will be a banger and everyone will leave happy. Garbrandt does that. He's capable of cashing. He's the underdog. This is a dog or pass. Let me be very clear about that. Smart man pass. You don't need this in your life. Chase a little underdog money simply because he's plus money right now. I'm going to take Garbrandt to sneak this one through, man.
Yeah. You said it right at the end there. And I don't really have too much to add to that, to be perfectly honest. Do I think he could get totally flatline knocked out? Sure. I mean, every Cody Garbrandt fight, you could probably say that at this point in his career.
Yeah, man.
His volume is not great, but he's got pretty good speed and very, very great technique. I don't know if he's, Xiao Long landed 87 strikes before getting the the third round knockout last time out against Quang Li, or 2 fights ago against Quang Li. His volume has always been pretty good, but it's like Garbrandt's. There's not many people who are hitting Garbrandt outside of Rob Font. That was a really bad night for you. Outside of that, it's just like he really slows down the pro. Like, it's not so he knows he's chinny. He's not gonna let you just pile up significant strikes on him. Like, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be dicey, and because I think it's close and dicey, give me the plus 125 as well. Am I super confident in it? Not really. But yeah, gotta make a pick. Your next Cody up, Cody's favorite Cody. This Cody's favorite Cody. You got Cody Brundage somehow fighting again. He just answers the call and says yes. That's really the reason.
You need guys like that. They say
you need guys like that for sure. But he's
sure.
the funniest. He's the funniest of the bunch because like the product that you get when he does show up is not always great. I mean, it's usually exciting in some way, shape, or form, unless there's a foul and a disqualification. But there's some sort of drama associated with the situation. Anyway, Donte Johnson is, making his second fight in the UFC proper, and he is the largest favorite on this card by a mile. Brundage plus 460, Donte plus or minus 650. I mean, I like Donte as a prospect moving forward. I think he's probably going to run right through Brundage. And Donte did show us last fight out against Dumbass. It's like, okay, well, he's not just a straight up brawler on the feet. Like he proved that he's got some, grappling and wrestling ability in that win over Dumbass as well. So, yeah, everything about Donte in terms of the new Donte, if you go way back and look at like when he was a heavyweight and wasn't taking things seriously, like before his Fury days even, well, that's a different guy, I think, and he'll tell you that as well. The guy's a tank. He's a beast. Minus 650 is a big price tag, though, Cody. He's my pick, but you know me and Chalk. It's distasteful.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point, Cody Brundage, it's just been cooked into it that everybody's having a good laugh and everyone's saying ha ha ha, and nobody in their right mind is betting Cody Brundage in 2026, right? But there's a lot of disrespect there, and so you get a line like minus 650. When in reality, it's like Cody Brundage has 6 times the amount of experience that Donte does at this level. He's fought far better guys, and beyond that, it's like I'm a Donte Johnson guy. Let me tell you. But that last fight, Cedric Dumas took him down and kind of controlled him up against the cage for like 2.5, 3 minutes. Cody Brundage wrestled in college. Cody Brundage is a far superior wrestler than Cedric Dumas. And if he's able to get his wrestling going, listen, the guy's an absolute weasel. He's not looking to beat you in emphatic fashion. He's looking to just do the bare minimum, try to get you disqualified, because that's always his go-to game plan. And if he can't get you disqualified, he lose and try to get a no contest, because that's his second go-to. But if he can't get you disqualified or force himself to get a no contest, then yeah, you do kind of see him just try to lull this thing down. Case in point, I'm glad they gave it against him, both because I bet on Eric McConaughey, but also because this is his style in a nutshell. The first round against McConaughey, he got a couple takedowns. I thought McConaughey landed the better shots in that first round and won the round, but yeah, it's pretty close. The second round, he also secures a takedown on McConaughey. Now, in his mind, he's up 2-0. And the internet's kind of mostly agreeing with him as well, saying he's up 2-0. That in the third round, he doesn't even shoot a takedown. He shot 5 in the first 2 rounds. The only success he had in that fight was shooting takedowns. And in the third round, he didn't even shoot one. Mm-hmm. And you could say cardio. It's not cardio. It's gamesmanship. He's just going to do the bare minimum to edge out a round. and try to sneak this thing on the scorecards. We kind of saw it with Jordan Levitt a couple weeks back, which cost me a bunch of money. And this is a spot that could cost me a bunch of money, is that these guys aren't looking to engage with you in the pocket. They're not looking to have this thrilling fight. They're looking to game the scorecards and win a decision. And what makes Cody Brundage more dangerous than Jordan Levitt is that he can get you disqualified or a no contest as well. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at comparatively, he's been fighting a lot of pretty decent guys. Like Cam Roston's a giant of a man and a black belt. Eric Koniko is a black belt, but not very good. Mansour Abdul Malik wrestled in college. Abdul Razak Al Hassan's a BJJ black belt, possibly on steroids. Bo Nickel, we all know about his college wrestling. Jacob Malkoun, my boy, definitely can wrestle. He's fought a lot of better wrestlers and has managed to grapple with a lot of them, at least in spots, that he could maybe just go out there and get a takedown, hold him up against the cage, try to keep this thing as slow pace as possible. You know this guy's going to explode. You know this guy's going to throw a 4 or 5 punch combination. Don't really hang in the pocket with him. In his last fight against Cam Roston, he was swinging bombs. And I mean bombs. Roston's so tall, he couldn't get to the target. Johnson's not tall like that. And Cody Brundage is going to sling bombs just like he did against Julian Marquez, just like he tried to do against Cam Roston. For as much as you can say the guy has no heart, what happens to some people when they get scared, like a dog getting backed into a corner, is that he just comes out rampant and wild. He's either going to get you or you're going to get him. Johnson's got less than 10 fights. Have we seen him hit flush? Do we know he can take a shot? He did get knocked out one time as an amateur, but the dude was a 6'4" heavyweight who kicked him in the head. I'm going to go ahead and say this guy can take a punch. Just like Raul Rosas Jr., you know, he's young. I'm expecting a lot of improvements. He used to fight at heavyweight. This is now middleweight. And his last fight against Dumas, it wasn't that he showed wrestling. I don't really want him to try to wrestle Brundage here at all. It's that he showed he could go past the first round. All of his other fights had been done in like 3 minutes or less. So the narrative on a guy that's built like this, cutting down 2 weight classes, and is that explosive, so there's no way he's going to be able to keep up that pace. And to be honest with you, he slowed the pace down well in the first round, picked his spots, got it done in the second, and as soon as he chokes him out with his like flimsy little guillotine, he's just like, you see how amped he is. Like, he's not even huffing and puffing. He's not even really breaking a sweat. I think this guy could be a legit prospect, but he needs more seasoning. And so a veteran of this sort hurts things. But Brundage is also coming in on short notice. It's not a full camp, and the guy's not really known to have cardio to begin with. Roston just TKO'd him not all that long ago. His durability's shot. He's on short notice, as I mentioned. You're not going to get a great version of him. And anything less than an absolute ready to go for 15 minutes of being on point version of him is going to get stiffed. So it's Donte Johnson. I think Johnson by knockout is probably the most thing, but it's not a good it's still not a good price. And his money line is not a good price. And for PRP purposes, I can't put him on the top, won't put him on the top. But yeah, he's probably on the second line if we're being real with each other. So I got Donte Johnson to do the damn thing and collect another knockout win.
If you're worrying about Gabby coming down, the dog coming down during this fight, well, she wasn't barking, so the dogs weren't barking. And 2, Donte Johnson's nickname is Lockjaw. Gabby's a pit bull. You know what they've got? Lockjaw.
There you go.
Lock in Johnson. No, well, yeah, for the wrestling, I was just kind of saying that, like, he proved that he's not a one-trick pony. Like, he's not a one-hitter, quitter, first round, slug it out kind of guy. He showed that there's, like, a lot more to his game. Do I think minus 650 is wide? Yes. Do I have an appetite for clicking Cody Brundage? I really don't. I don't want a guy who's like looking for his way out in certain spots. I don't think he's necessarily looked for a way out in every single spot, but it's like something. I mean, it's happened so many times that it's like, you know, I don't want to call it. Cody Brundage would kill me. So hopefully
he's gonna swing, and that makes him dangerous. But he's only dangerous for so long, and then the short notice factored in. It's even less. But honestly, this fight is a bite in the ass. Lockjaw's the bite. Cody Brundage's ass. So yeah. I just can't put my money on him, man.
I can't pull the trigger on Cody Brundage. Maybe. At what number would you pull the trigger on Cody Brundage?
Yeah, well, this is low-key what people don't understand, is that could he just land an overhand right while his eyes are closed? Yeah, he throws sufficiently hard, and like that Marquez fight, if you just want to brawl him, he could land. Could he maybe fluke onto a guillotine choke? Yeah, dude, Dulce Lunkiambula was killing him. And then he just grabbed onto it. But more so probable than all of those things, he'll get you DQ'd, Paul.
Yeah,
Okay?
which is
So
the
what
KO
price?
prop. The KO prop is the DQ.
You're fighting a guy who just fights reckless and has less than 10 pro fights. You know what those guys are prone to doing? Making mistakes and getting emotional. So all you gotta do is shoot a shitty takedown, okay? Leave your head all exposed. This guy drops a couple hammers on the back of it, and you know when the ref says, "Are you good?" He's like, "Oh, well, let's put a disqualification for Cody Brundage and extend his contract another 3 fights." He is the master of it. Master of it. That you got to factor that in when you're betting Donte Johnson, is that this guy just swings wild and Brundage knows the rules better than the people who wrote the rules know the rules. Watch out for that, dude.
The Brundage props are very, very appetizing. I just can't do it. I can't do it. And it's a bias that has been formed inside of me, but I just can't click that button this week. So yeah, Donte Johnson's the pick. And how invested am I? I'm sure I'll have him in stuff. God damn it.
I've already bet him because I have a feeling that he'll just keep going higher, but I knew it was a bad line when I bet it, and as I sit here looking at the ticket day after day waiting for the event to come up, it's like, what does a minus 650 really do for a parlay ticket when you know it's gonna be a crazy fight? But you and I have made a show. I've made the last number of years. Cody Brundage is not a bettable guy in most situations, and unfortunately, this ain't that. UFC knows what they're doing. They needed someone to pick up the phone call. They like Donte Johnson. They want to keep building this guy. He's exciting. He's got a fun style. Fans are getting behind him. Who are you gonna call? Cody Brundage. Right? That's him. He's the guy. He answers the phone, but he's not putting himself in a good position to succeed.
That Julian Marquez fight just pisses me off.
The ref,
because the ref was like, he was just like, here, Brundage, here's the longest leash possible, when you're hurt by Marquez. But just like the moment that Marquez got hurt, it's just like, it's all over. Just like, these are the things that, you have to deal with in betting MMA, though. It's just like, humans are going to make mistakes. So it is what it is. I'm not saying that like that ref made some sort of, he was not betting against it or anything like that, but.
Oh, who knows, Paul? But think about this, right? Some people, I'm not super into sci-fi, but there's a thing about universes, different universes, right? And in a different universe, I was thinking about this morning, different universe, Cody Brundage is on an 11-fight losing streak right now because he lost to Roaston, he lost to McConaughey. The draw against Malik, he appealed after the fact, was originally a TKO loss. Julian Marquez, he should have lost. The ref bailed him out. Abdul Razak Al Hussein, he was getting outstruck 23-1, and he was able to squeeze out a no contest. Bo Nickel chokes him out, and just like he did not do anything. Zach Reese, he did win, but he power bombs the guy, very fluky type of thing.
While he's in a triangle.
If the guy goes out, you win. If the guy doesn't go out, you are in on this triangle. It's over. And then Cedric Dumas, Jacob Malkoun shouldn't have been a DQ. Cedric Dumas, Rodolfo Vieira, Mikey O. It's 11 fights.
Last legitimate
honestly,
one was Gore.
He made last legitimate loss was Gore, and against Gore, they slug it out a little bit. He lands that big shot. It's a first round finish. That's where he operates at best. Dulce, you remember that fight? He's getting he should be 1-12 in his last 13 fights because because Maximov and William Knight both beat him as well. So you can make an argument that he could be 1-14 in his last 15 fights, but he's got a wicked comeback from the jaws of defeat, and he's got some DQ wins, and he's got some no contests, and he's got a draw, and that's what kept his job. And he answers the phone, of course.
He answers the phone and says yes. That's probably the number one reason, right? Because it's like, what? He got knocked out in the second round 5 weeks ago by Cam Rouston over in Australia. So I had to, fly
he did an interview as well, right?
Fly all the way back here, and
let's go.
And now he's the guy. He's the guy answering the phone call.
Okay, so not only that, but remember Justin Jacoby cornered him over in Australia, and they were like, what are you doing, man? You didn't come here to do this. Like, what are you doing? He can't take advice. He doesn't care. He's married to UFC veteran Amanda Bobby Cooper, best known for losing to Mackenzie Dern back in the day.
Yep.
But they have a kid together, and I saw an interview that he did where he was like, I know for me to get the results required would require me to like go out and get different looks and train at different places and do two-a-days, but just like I don't want to do that to my wife and kid, and I love being at home, and so he's ill prepared. The phone rings. Do you want to take it? This guy should have got cut after his first 4 fights in the UFC. Certainly, by the way, William Knight smacked him up on the Contender Series. Is a miracle that he even got in the UFC to begin with. But he made his money based on, I will answer the phone. Just like Marc-Andre Barriault. The difference is Barriault can fight 3 rounds if need be. Barriault can slug it out with good guys. Is not good. He's like 3-9 in the UFC or 4-10 or something. But Brundage is the same thing. Only his wins have to happen in the first round, or he needs to have some weird thing happen that he can use for a no contest, a draw, or a DQ, because dude knows the rules extremely well. So lose this fight, please. Lose this fight. Retire and become a judge, because ain't nobody knows the rules better than Cody Brundage. Let me tell you. Got to know them to break them. Guy knows what he's doing. But I just can't put my hard-earned money on him. So, yeah, we're on the same page, brother.
I can't do it either. It's tempting, but I can't do it. Any other fighter, I would consider it, but not 5 weeks off of a knock. She's like, I just keep talking circles. I'm just trying to like, Paul, bad thoughts. Don't even think about clicking Cody Brundage's name, because you know how this plays out. Or do I?
Just like Sam Alvey. It'd be like, yeah, he's 1-7 in his last 8 fights of the UFC,
but he's plus 800.
He's plus money guy. He does hit hard.
Yeah, but Sam was a lot more likable.
It is much better. Let's be real. He's got cut from the UFC, and he does pretty well outside of it. So,
all right. Alberto Montes takes on Ricky Turcios. Alberto Montes is -185 favorite to come back on. Turcios +160. Who you got?
I got Ricky Turcios. So this Alberto Montes guy is live or die by the Darce choker, the Anaconda. Boy, oh boy, is he on your neck. Problem is that it seems to be his only move. Like 4 of his last 5 wins have come by Darce choke or Anaconda, and he uses it for everything. He uses it to defend takedowns off the cage. He uses it to sweep from bottom. He uses it if you shoot on him and he can get a front headlock series going. The guy loves it. It's definitely his move. But does he have anything else to back it up? Is he a one-trick pony kind of guy? He's 31 years old. So this was about the final product version of him. He's not been super active. In fact, he retired from 2017 until 2021. Came back, got knocked out in the second round against Iron Lukowski in a Titan FC show in Florida. And since then has 3 wins. 3 wins since 2017. All of them by Anaconda or Darce. I don't know that there's a whole lot of substance there. He fought this Carlos Calderon in the Contender Series. He lost the first round for sure. Didn't look like his striking was very good. Didn't look like his wrestling was very good. The problem is this Carlos Calderon guy fought at a pace that you cannot sustain, dude. He went for it hard. What? It's either you're going to win in the first round or you're going to gas out. I'm talking like Michael Phelps level cardio is not going to bail you out. You can't do that. And he went hard. Got caught in 3 or 4 Darce chokes. Got out of all or Anaconda. He likes the Anaconda a little bit better. It's the same thing, just different arm. But in the second round, he's just way too gassed out that eventually he takes a bad shot into a Peruvian necktie, back to an Anaconda, and then eventually gets submitted. The guy's got an excellent front headlock series. He trains at a goat shed in Florida. He's going to have some striking. It's not good enough to fight in karate combat. Otherwise, 100% he would have. But good enough that he's South American. He can take a good punch. He'll land a few. But he's looking to just maybe push a pace, have you shoot head first into a bad takedown, which he will snatch up your neck. Ricky Turcios shoots into a lot of bad takedowns. But Ricky Turcios is hard to submit, man. Super, super squirrely. The guy's constantly scrambling. And yeah, he spent a lot of time at Team Alpha Male. He knows all about these. They have more of a guillotine choke, but he understands not sticking your head into a bad spot. And if you want to constantly crank on it and exert energy trying to submit him, he's good at scrambling. Yeah, sure, Raul Rosas Jr. did sub him in the second round, but he looked really good in the first. And unfortunately, sometimes things happen. Outside of that, the dude's a split decision machine, and that he'll keep these fights close. So you have to get him at plus money. You ain't betting this guy as the favorite. But at plus money, it's going to be a close fight. Now, what if Montes can't just latch onto the neck? Well, Turcios is a better wrestler than him, and Turcios is a better striker than him. And Turcios has way more experience. He's fought in the UFC. He won the Ultimate Fighter. Since then, he's fought in the UFC half a dozen times, and Ayman Zahabi's currently ranked in the top 15. Raul Rosas Jr. is prospect getting better, possibly heading towards that direction, although we'll see. Bernardo Sopai. I had Sopai pretty heavy. Turcios gave him everything he could handle. Lots of movement laterally, makes you come to him, and then attacks with these kicks. Big kicks, kick to the body, kick to the leg, kick to the head, kick to the body, kick to the head, kick to the leg. Now, Sopai, he spends a lot of time in Thailand. He's got a few Thai fights. He's got big power that he can sit on. Montes is not that level of striker. So if I got a path of victory here where I can just outpoint you and outwork you, and not only that, if I do shoot takedowns and you're latching up on submission attempts, but you're not getting them, maybe I get a little bit of control time. It all looks good. And here's the last thing I will sprinkle on that, right? Ricky Turcios is moving up to 145 pounds for the first time in this fight, right? But the guy is huge. He's 5'9", like a 73-inch reach at 135. He's a big guy. And I think the weight cuts might have been hurting him a little bit. So now going up to 145, he's definitely got more than enough size for the division. But also this Montes was a career 135er prior to his last fight with Kombache and that fight on Contender Series. Only 2 fights in his career that he's fought up at 145 pounds. Prior to that, he was also a bantamweight. So when I look at Turcios, I know I said 73-inch reach. That's my bad. It's 71. But he's 5'9", 71. Montes is 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. He's 2 inches shorter, 2 inches less in the reach department. I think Turcios is going to be the bigger guy, and he doesn't have to cut weight. So when you look at Tapology and you click on Ricky Turcios, I know Paul's not going to do it. So many ads, man. It's so annoying. But just if you're at home, okay, you'll see.
Computer will get cancer.
Yeah, you don't want to go down that road. You click on this fight with Bernardo Sopai. Okay, you expand it. It tells you Ricky weighed in at 136 pounds at weigh-in, made weight. Okay, fight night weight 156.6 pounds. He gained 20.6 pounds overnight from the day of the weigh-ins until the day of the fight. 100% he's going to be okay at featherweight, and he's not taking on a big featherweight at all. So if I can outmuscle this guy, he's not getting on top of us. We don't have to shoot takedowns if we don't need to. But if I got this stronger guy with more experience, better volume, better striking, plus money, so yeah, no, those are the kind of shots that I have to take, or else listen, let's be real with each other. Last week, I was a coward on you guys. I gave you a million good reasons to not take Brandon Moreno and to take but you still got to have the cojones to do it. You and I both talked at length about why a sane person that doesn't require being in a psychiatric ward would never take Zellhuber minus 500. And although I seriously limited the damage, I'm sure you did as well. You probably didn't have him at all. You should have just outright on the other side. Have the cojones to just take the other side. Turcios, I'm taking it. He's not as big of an underdog. I get it. But there's 1,000,001 good reasons to like him. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and say, I'm taking it. So give me Pretty Ricky to pick up a win in the UFC. Both of his other wins are by split. I'll take a split here too, Paul.
You had a great week last week, regardless of Zellhuber. And like with your style, like you moved Zellhuber so far down that it's just like that was for his number on his money line and your PRP style. It's just like in the world of PRPs, that's a win. That's a win, bro. It's not a win-win, but it's a win. It's a structural win, right? It's like you put a minus 500, like what, like line 4, line 5, or something like that. Like he was way down there with like pick'em kind of fights. So you knew that there was stank. There was some stank on that one. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. We got the Alphabet taking on Cody Durden. The Alphabet is a slight favorite in this fight, minus 140-ish. Come back on Durden plus 120-ish. Went up to 170, and then it's been kind of trickling down the entire time. Here's the thing about this fight, and people are going to be like, oh, he's taking both sides of the fight again. Oh, my God. Just make a pick. The Alphabet, I mean, Cody Durden, every single fight. You can do this for every single Cody Durden fight. He is going to come out like a bat out of hell for the first 7.5 minutes. And then if you can keep a pace up on him, he's not very likely to last to the end of the fight. And then if he does last to the end of the fight with a relatively high pace, he's not going to look good those last few minutes. So his opponents typically better live opportunity. I don't really want to bet Tumendemberel minus 140 pre-flop when I think he's going to lose round one. This is a little bit of a different situation because it has less to do with like, you know, the other fight I was like, I want to kind of suss out like the takedown defense and if Rob Font's getting back up and so on and so forth from a betting perspective. This one's more like I want to see that round one is pretty high pace. I expect Durden to win round one. But does Tumendemberel get back up over and over? I mean, the path is right there. The Carlos Hernandez path is right there for Durden to take it. I would say the biggest major Durden is far more physical than Carlos Hernandez, but I really think that the gas tank just over and over, we've seen it. He just struggles to maintain over the course of 15 minutes. The props on Tumendemberel to like win in like round 3 and stuff, too short for like anything that I would enjoy. Like I think I saw like plus 850 or something, which is like you need a lot of things to line up for that third round finish to happen. Tumendemberel wins late is my official pick. Much more interested in betting this live than clicking anything pre-flop. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Tumendemberel. This is going to be a very frustrating fight because he does the absolute bare minimum, and then that actually probably leads him to winning this fight. Is that he doesn't do nothing, and all of a sudden Cody Durden is the bat out of the hell. Cody Durden does push the pace, and then Cody Durden starts to slow, and when he starts to slow, Tumendemberel is always fresh. He can fight 15 minutes because he really only unloads on certain shots. If you look at that fight with Carlos Hernandez, he only landed 26 significant strikes, and they credit him with 1 knockdown. He had this guy dancing all over the ring. If you're looking at damage, he knocked him down in the first round, and he wobbled him twice in the third. You could give that fight to Tumendemberel. But unfortunately, it was a Carlos Hernandez victory. More concerning is that Carlos Hernandez usually gets out-wrestled in the majority of his fights, not known for his submission grappling, and yet he would be rocked, and reactionary takedowns kept taking this guy down. Now, Mongolians are known for their wrestling and their physicality, and yet he really can't wrestle. He's been taken down 6 times by Topnoi Kurwan on road to the contender.
Those road numbers are always ridiculous.
Well, they are, but Topnoi Kurwan, 2 things. 1, pure Thai fighter from Thailand. And second thing, smokes a pack of cigs a day. He took him down 6 times.
They love throwing like there's just crazy numbers of takedowns that get credited. We've talked about this before. Sumit Kumar, the Indian kid.
Yeah, a lot of them are just mat returns, and then you get right back up and they do it again, and I get that. But then Carlos Hernandez, who also really is not known for his wrestling, gets 4 takedowns and racks up a good amount of control 100%. Time. But Nyam, he does
call him the alphabet. People get it.
No, Tumendemberel does usually get back up fairly quickly, and then when he does get back up, he allows you to just outwork him, and then sits down on these punches. His last one's against Terrence Saturn, not Terry Saturn, not my boy Perry Saturn, but against Terry Saturn on the road to contenders. That guy took the fight on 4 days' notice and flew from California over to China. He missed weight and then got subbed in the first round. So like it's hard to say whether this guy's any good or not. That's the only fight he's had since Carlos Hernandez, and he didn't particularly look too riveting in the Hernandez fight. So
Terrence Saturn is the A1 or was the A1 featherweight champion, bantamweight champion, bantamweight. I think
he's really not bad, but he took the fight on 3 days' notice and flew to China to make it happen. So, and then they cut him right away afterwards because he had missed weight in the process. So I can't imagine there was a good version of him. I started, honestly, the last few days, I've been on Cody Durden as a dog play because it's one of these shots where it's like, listen, Durden's got way more experience. We know that. But also just when you talk about level of competition, Alan Nascimento, who he won the first round against Alan Nascimento. Mm-hmm. Jose Ochoa, he won the first round against Jose Ochoa. Josh Van, he won the first round against Josh Van. He nuked Bruno Silva in the first round, but then as soon as all of these fights go after the first round, he completely falls apart. The Matt Schnell fight's actually funny because arguably Schnell won the first round and he came back to get the victory. Point being is that he's 35 at the end of this month. At the end of March, he turns 35 years old. At flyweight, that's tough. He's been a guy similar to Cody Brundage that he'll answer the call, man. You call him and you want him to fight Makayev and Josh Van and all the guys that are considered elite guys of the division, and he's fought in all of them. He's not afraid of a fight, but it's hard to say that a guy that's 12 fights into his UFC career and like 25 fights into his pro career, it's difficult to say that this guy's now going to make the required adjustments and fight like a veteran. If he relies strictly on his wrestling, yes, he can get takedowns and he can ride out those control time positions. But what you see in his last few fights is he can strike too. And against Ochoa, he's landing. And against Bruno Silva, he's landing. Against Alan Nascimento, he is landing. And in all three of those instances, the longer he strikes, they eventually counter him and he goes down. Nascimento's an awesome BJJ guy. He can't strike for the life of him. He partially grazes him with the right hand, which causes Cody to stumble. And as soon as he stumbles, it's Anaconda City, baby. But point being is that Nascimento dropped him. And Ochoa, he walked right into that shot hard. Josh Van, you actually went the distance with Van. But one has to wonder if those 165 significant strikes landed, the referee could have waved off this fight twice. Maybe that hurt him a little bit. So at flyweight, it's tough to be in your mid-30s. And that explosiveness, that cardio, that ruggedness is not quite there. Now you're taking on a guy that's nearly 10 years younger than you, is strong and physical. Hernandez kept taking him down, but he kept getting back up, and he rocked Hernandez multiple times. You know, a better version of him from that night probably is going to do the same thing. You may take him down, and he's probably going to pop back up. You know, that costs you energy. At some point, you're going to land a beautiful right hand on him, and it's going to grow your confidence. Now you're going to throw a combination. He's only waiting for the one shot. Listen, he throws two punches, overhand right and left hook. That's about it. He's a two-punch guy. Low numbers, but Cody's too hittable to take those two punches. And the longer it goes, one of them's going to get through. So first round, Durden's likely going to win. He does it all the time. He's a first round guy. You don't be betting this thing on the first round if you're looking to fade him. Second round, you go. For whatever reason, Durden wins the first 2 rounds, which is possible. He wrestles him for 2 rounds. That third round knockout is now going to be looking way good at plus money. And whereas Paul just said pre-flop third round knockouts plus 300, in actuality, you could get a plus 700, plus 800 in the live market, depending on did this guy drop the first 2 rounds or not. So I understand Cody has had more of a camp for this fight than he has in prior ones. I understand his back is seriously up against the wall, but the reality is he's 1-5 in his last 6 fights. He's not looked all that good. He looked okay versus Van. He looked okay versus Ochoa. Didn't look great against Nascimento that middle round. First round he did. It's who he is. Unless you're going to knock this guy down or choke him out in the first round, it's going to start becoming problematic. So yeah, they call him Art of Knockout. It's a really bad nickname, but bottom line is that's what he does well, and that's something that Cody Durden's really been left open to. So again, I did have Durden for most of last week and the early portions of this week, but as I got to sit down and really break it down, the opportunity is going to present itself at some point, and Durden does this in all of his fights. He always at some point little laps, and these world-class guys take advantage. Tom Dumberall is not a world-class guy, but he'll be presented with the same opportunity, and all he needs to do is land that right hand. I do think it's going to sink the ship, so I'll take the Mongolian fighter to get the win.
Yeah. I think if you bet pre-flop, Durden's fine because your plus 120 is going to be, it's very possibly, not guaranteed, but very possibly at least minus 200 after round 1, Yeah. I mean, I know you play at one book that has like horrible live betting opportunities, like bad limits, really slow.
There's hardly any limits on
you got to open up. There's a whole different world out there, Cody. You gotta get in at other places if you want to play these things live because yeah, I think you'd be crazy to load up on the alphabet pre-flop at minus 140 because it's just like it's very, very likely that you get twice that, or you get like plus 150, plus 200, maybe even more after a first round. Because like Cody Durden, as you laid out over and over, he doesn't lose too many first rounds, man. The guy is a bat out of hell, and it's very possible that he gets him out of there very early. So like pre-flop, if you're forced to guns to your head, if I had to click a button, it'd be Durden, but I don't have to click a button. And what I actually think is going to play out is what we've seen over and over with Cody Durden is that he's going to probably get close to trying to finish this fight off, people, anybody who clicked, Tumendemberel pre-flop are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I bet this idiot. And then the script gets flipped. Moving on that, we got Jesus Aguilar taking on Mudaerji, minus 240 for Mudaerji. The comeback on Jesus Aguilar is plus 205. Big size disparity between the two of these guys.
Mostly their reach. It's a 10-inch reach advantage.
Massive like length disparity between the two of these guys. Jesus Aguilar, it's flyweight. These guys are kind of good at everything. Jesus Aguilar is gonna jump guillotine or try. Can he even jump guillotine? Is he able to jump up high enough to jump guillotine here?
This dude's got a neck like a pencil, man. You better hope he doesn't grab a guillotine because it'd be there.
It's true. 10-inch reach advantage. I mean, conventional wisdom is going to say Mudaerji is going to stay to the outside, pick his shots, box him up. But, this Mitch Proposo fight was like, I thought he won. I thought it was very clear. But, like, when it came in as a split, I was a little bit surprised there. So you never really know when it goes to the judges in these types of situations. Much better performance against Kevin Borjas, and the fact that 73-16 he picks his shots, he stays at range, takedowns he can be exploited, but Jesus Aguilar hasn't really proven to be some sort of elite wrestler. The little thing that flipped for him last time out against Louis Garul is that he was able to put up 85 significant strikes, which was kind of an anomaly for what this guy did over the course of his career. I like Sue to keep it at range, box him up, probably double up Jesus Aguilar on strikes, stuff takedowns when need be. And it's going to be hard for you to get into a situation where there's a guillotine if Mudaerji is never shooting for a takedown or anything like that. A lot of Jesus Aguilar's guillotine attempts kind of come from other people shooting on him because he can't wrestle, but he does have the guillotine to protect himself. I like Sue here. What about you?
I like Mudaerji as well, actually. So I just feel like he's a guy that's been rounding into form. Now, he is 30 years old, but that he's starting to show off kind of what his game is, long, rangy striking. And you can't use long, rangy striking if you can't stuff takedowns and keep the fight standing. And I think that's where his biggest improvements have been. When he's losing, it wasn't like they were bad guys, like Lewis Smolka in his debut. Guy headlined a card in Ireland. Matt Schnell, he had Matt Schnell completely knocked out cold and then, did get subbed. Tim Elliott took him down once, thoroughly dominated and choked him out easy. Charles Johnson, not known for his wrestling, took him down twice. That version of him has a giant hole in his grappling, but also Tim Elliott's world class. He's a top 10 guy. Charles Johnson at his best is most definitely world class, top 15 guy. Those guys have been able to do that to him when he was a little bit younger and a little greener. But since then, he's done a pretty good job. Now, that Mitch Raposo fight's interesting. I completely agree. How's it a split decision? Nobody understands that. But Raposo went 6 for 19 on takedown attempts. And Mitch Raposo is actually a former state champion wrestler who trains at a pretty good camp, is a very athletic guy, and had really good entries on that fight. He's also a shorter guy who's faster, with better wrestling than Jesus Aguilar. And even when he did get to the hips and take him down, that tallness that is now using it as leverage, his ability to get back up to his feet has largely improved. Then the Borges fight, Borges is really not a wrestler at all, but you see how he's got that long rangy ability. He's a southpaw, that left hand, laser accurate. I don't know, man. If you do not take him down, you got a problem on your hand. Now, Aguilar being 5'4", he's going to be on the outside all day long. But if he does get to the inside, he's quite literally right at the hip line. Mudaerji would be wise to throw a knee up the middle, but also if you throw a knee up the middle, the guy might be able to bowl in and get that takedown. So you're going to have to use your footwork, maintain that range, maintain that distance, and just intercept him all day long. But Jesus Aguilar at distance is going to get chewed up. Jesus Aguilar trying to make this a brawl, probably not going to yield much success because he's usually a little bit lower on the volume. So he needs to wrestle, and I just don't think it's going to be there. He went 1 for 5 against Luis Garul his last time out. Didn't even have 40 seconds of control time out of it. Against Rafael Estevan, they kind of exchanged takedowns back and forth a little bit. He's got good jiu-jitsu, but like you were saying, where's the jiu-jitsu come into place if Mudaerji's not shooting on you? How are you going to hit a reversal and sweep to top or threaten with the guillotine choke if he's not shooting in.
Got to close a lot of distance.
You're going to have to close a lot of distance, and that's where I struggle to think he'll have success. Although he did knock out Shannon Ross in the biggest I told you so moment Paul Shaughnessy and I have ever had in our time together, the last 15 years of knowing him since college. That was by far the biggest one, where I told him, sure, Shannon Ross has no chin, but Jesus Aguilar has never knocked out an opponent ever in a fight. And then he proceeded to knock out Shannon Ross in 17 seconds because it's Shannon Ross. Since then, there's been no more knockouts. Since then, Luis Mendonca took him down 4 times. He won a split. Terrible fight. Stuart Nickel took him down. He's able to grab the guillotine choke. Rafael Estevam took him down 11 times. And Luis Garul, he's just not really all that good. I mean, one, he's 0-3 in the UFC right now. He's kind of been exposed, but beyond that, he's also a little bit shorter and he's willing to engage you in the pocket. This is a different fight entirely. So people will often say, like, oh, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. Tumendemberel only losing to the top guys. Whereas Aguilar's wins over Garul, winless in the UFC, Stuart Nickel, winless in the UFC, Mateusz Mendonca, losing record in the UFC, Shannon Ross, winless in the UFC. Plus, they're all out wrestling you. Nickel took you down. Mateusz Mendonca took you down. Rafael Estevam, that's who he is. I'm not going to fault you on that one. Like, whatever. Happens to a lot of guys. But point being is, like, if your best path to victory is to out-wrestle this guy, you're not even really a good wrestler. Your best move is the guillotine choke. This guy really doesn't put his head in that position. Then, yeah, you're going to have to just bite on your mouthpiece and step in distance. And he's got a 10-inch reach advantage, and it's at the T-Mobile Arena. It's not the Apex. Yeah, it could be way more dangerous than the Apex in this fight. It's the T-Mobile. He's going to have a whole lot of space to work with. You're 125 pounds. He's going to just be causing you to walk forward over and over. Mexican durability will be on display, but he's going to be getting hit quite a bit, and the judges, they're going to notice that. So, Tumendemberel for me.
Yep. Rafael Tobias takes on Diyar. Nurgozhay. Here's your guy. Tobias minus 200 favorite. To come back on Diyar plus 170. What are your thoughts here, bud?
Okay, so yeah, obviously you're taking Tobias because there's nobody that's going to go the other way, but you're kind of asking for it ever so slightly. And the reason I say that is this guy's only 22 years old, so no doubt he's getting better. But from what you do see, he's not fat. He's slow. I would say this is a slow man. 205, I get it, but he's not a big athlete. And at 22 is when you're at your fastest, and yet he marches in flat-footed, slugs these overhands. He could get himself into a lot of trouble. His only pro loss, he lost to Miguel Porto a couple years back on LFA. He was a minus 550 favorite in that fight. The second round, Porto's absolutely gassed and then just chucks a right hand, hits it. He's out before he hits the canvas. Don't think his chin's all that good. Don't think his cardio's all that good. His style is mostly come forward on a straight line and just bomb you with a series of punches, which although is probably enough to win this fight, he's defensively is a liability, doesn't have a great chin. I don't know that I trust him to do the right thing. I'm still going to pick him, but here's why I'm picking him. I need him to just take the fight to the ground as soon as you can. He's actually got quite a few submission victories. Lacey head and arm choke.
He's good at mounting as well, getting to like ground and pound position if he's not necessarily going for the submission as well.
Good transitions on the ground, right? And whereas I think he's slow and plodding standing on the ground, he's fluid. You can tell that that's where his game lies. Now it's the UFC. You want to make an impression. You want the bonus. It's $100,000 now. It's a big UFC pay-per-view card. You're on the prelims. You want to deliver. I get that. And if he tries to go out there and deliver against Diyar, it's possible that he's going to get chin check because as much as Nurgozhay is not good at all, he's still a big enough body. He does throw some sufficient heat, and he's more than capable of knocking out Rafael Tobias. If Tobias exploits the fact that this guy's got no cardio and he got no submissions or submission grappling, take him down. It's money all day, but you got to trust that he's going to do the right thing. Now with Diyar and Nurgozhay, I will say, he beat Emiliano Sordi on the regional scene. It's a nice little knockout win, and it's a knockout win because that's what he can do. But there's not tape on that stuff. You can watch that one. But I mean, most of these guys' fights, they're not readily available, so you're not really sure what to expect. When he fought on the Contender Series against Bartos, got the quick little second round knockout with a nice little head kick. Didn't look like he was gassing in those fights. Striking looked good enough. Certainly, I think better than Rafael Tobias. Tobias is more likely to explode with a 3 or 4 big barrage, straight line, whereas this guy moves a little bit. You know, he sets up his shots a little bit here and there. The thing is that he has this twitch where he's constantly pawing at his own eye. I don't know if it's a nervous twitch, because when you watch interviews on him, he's not constantly pawing on his eye. When he fights, he's constantly wiping his eye. You have to watch tape on him to know what I'm talking about. It's just what he does. It's like his little fight twitch. And these guys are figuring it out, that now he's pawing at his eye, and that's when they're punching, right? Because how are you going to defend yourself when one hand's like this on your face? They've started to figure the guy out. Bretson Ribeiro was leaps and bounds faster than him. Diyar missed weight by 5 pounds in there. And then that setup to the Kimura, just filthy simple. And it worked. And then the last fight against Uran Saltabaliev, the same thing. It's a really wonky Kimura transition where he almost subs him with a Kimura again, and then settles to just go to full mount and hits him with a mounted Ezekiel choke. Not even Gi Jiu-Jitsu, mounted Ezekiel. Not even Alexei Olnik, mounted Ezekiel. So it's safe to say that this Kazakh guy is a big brute, but he has absolutely no grappling. And Rafael Tobias just gets a takedown, is game over. But this guy's not too smart, and this guy likes to brawl. And if he takes that path, he may possibly get chinned, man. Don't go too heavy on this. Don't just blindly bet him because everybody wants to fade Diyar, myself included. There's a world where this guy gets all hot and sweaty and it's his UFC debut and there's a live crowd and you may feel you have Diyar hurt and you rush in and it's just playing a bad game, man. Path of least resistance, takedown, submission. Do that. It's going to look like a minus 500-600 favorite. Stands and bangs. He's not going to look like a favorite at all. So I gotta hope that this 22-year-old kid making his debut is going to do the right thing. I've been burned by that before. So, hopefully it's not another repeat there. You're Brazilian. Use your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, please.
Yeah, I need Tobias to do 2 things. 1, time the twitch. 2, hit the switch.
I like it.
I bet the under. It's a 1.5. I got plus 105, minus 108 earlier. There's still some pick'ems out there. We've just seen the grappling ability of Nyamjargal against UFC quality people get exposed pretty badly early. I saw the same things when I was watching Tobias stand up. I'm like, he's really reckless, man. So it's like, I don't want to get too, and that's Contender Series, I suppose, for like his most recent fight being all that aggressive. So like he is incentivized to go out there, be reckless, try to get a finish. Because if you get a finish, you get first round finish, you have a contract in the UFC. That's how that show works. So I get that. But historically, he's got a couple fights that have went to decision, but like both these guys historically finishers. That's where I got my money in. He's on the under 1.5, close to pick 'em price. So yeah. But let's go Tobias. There's a guy. Since he came over here, and there have been allegations of like Alash Pride and what's the other like Kazakh promotion?
Octagon, but it's like not with a K and it's lowercase.
Yeah, I think Alash Pride literally had some like fight fixing allegations that came out.
I think the other Octagon did too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that region of the world, there's some strange stuff going on. Who knows how legitimate some of these fights were? We do tape on some of these. Some of these cards from that level or from that side of the world. And sometimes you're like, how on earth did someone look at this guy and say these 2 guys should fight? Because they're nowhere near the same level. So like some of those fights, those flashy first round knockouts that you can't find tape for, there's probably a good reason you can't find tape because they don't want to get sued. We got Jung Young Lee taking on Gaston Bolanos. Lee minus 275 favorite to come back on. Bolanos plus 235. Where are you at with this one, Cub?
So, Gaston Bolanos, you attended one of his fights in Vegas one time for Lion Fight. And so if people remember him from his Lion Fight days and his Muay Thai days, he's got a nasty spinning back elbow. He's either going to hit that and win, or he does not hit that. And I just don't see him winning this fight. I honestly don't. Other than if he was to land some crazy wild technique. As much as I really do like Gaston Bolanos, and he was really fun in his Muay Thai days, the problem is that he's got a super square stance, right? And if you guys are into like One Championship, our buddy Voki at DSBV, he's always be breaking it down over on the Bookie Beatdown Discord channel. And the biggest thing is that you'll get these guys that were really, really good Muay Thai fighters, and then it's small glove Muay Thai now. And that small glove, it changes everything. the way you block, the way you parry, the way you defend. You can't just phone booth anymore. The shots come right through the middle. And so you got to start having more of a bladed stance. I don't mean karate, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson karate bladed. I just mean you got to start to give your opponent less room to hit. And he just stands way too square. Not only that, he's a lot slower than he was back in the day. And he wasn't really ever that fast to begin with. When you watch a couple of these fights that he's had, loses to Solo Hadley, loses to Daniel Carey, you can see that like he's not a grappler. He's just a guy with really good Muay Thai. And against a low level of opposition, he can maybe make it work for himself. But against guys that are MMA strikers, he's not having success. And against guys that can wrestle and grapple him, he's not having success. The Marcus McGee fight's a prime example of McGee can wrestle. McGee can do it all. McGee's my boy. Like, McGee thoroughly outboxed him. And I mean, bad. He's lighting him up. He's moving him backwards. He's landing to the body. He's landing up top. There's the other problem with Gaston. Square stance, slow, doesn't fight well off his back foot. And that's where he's most effective. He doesn't never come forward. He does not come forward. He sits there at range, kicks at range. The second you start to put a little bit of pressure on him is where he'll back himself to the cage and you start opening up. McGee puts on a really nice performance there. He's got a win over Cortavius Romeus. Romeus actually won the second round in all likelihood against him. It wasn't like the easiest win in the world, but yes, he did beat him. He showcased improved grappling against a guy who went winless in the UFC and has since been released. So I just don't think that he's shown off nearly enough. Quang Lee, his last time out, taken down and submitted. With Jung Young Lee, he's had a bit of a weird run. He's 2-2 in the UFC. Hydra Mill absolutely nukes him. And Daniel Wiley Cat Santos takes him down 6 times and, is able to outmuscle him. But when you watch it, his technique is nice. Fast hands, good boxing combinations, mixes up to the body, mixes up to the head. Despite Hydra Mill knocking him out with like a 40-punch barrage 3 minutes into the fight, or a minute into the fight, he landed 40 strikes. Crazy. Outside of something like that, this kid's durability looks pretty good. His cardio looks pretty good. And I honestly just think that he's going to be able to have a lot more success coming forward and doing work. Him versus Daniel Santos, when he's moving forward, he is landing some crispy combinations. Everything's flowing. Everything's looking good. What Santos figured out is, I'm just going to dog this guy and I'm going to pressure forward. This kid on his back foot, not nearly as good, way more susceptible to getting hits. If I thought for 1 second that Gaston Bolanos was capable of fighting like a South American, biting down on his mouthpiece and moving forward constantly, then yeah, he's got a good chance to do the same thing. But that's not his style at all. He's a sit and wait kind of guy, and it ain't going to work. So yeah, could he throw a spinning back elbow? Sure. Could he time a knee up the middle? Possibly. I honestly think that this Korean kid, Jing Young Lee's got him beat everywhere. He's a better grappler. He's got better cardio. He's got better durability. He's got better striking for MMA. He's starting to rack up some experience of his own, having now fought for the UFC 4 times. And Bolanos was a little experiment that just didn't quite work. Can we take a guy who's elite at a combat art and bring them in? Yeah, guys like Alex Pereira have done it. Those are the higher weight class guys. The lower you go, you have to be more well-rounded. He just never quite figured it out. So now at age 33, I just don't see the proper improvements being made out of him for him to be competitive. So kind of do think he's going to at some point get clipped and go down. If he does not get knocked out, he's losing a 30-27 or 29-28 by backing up and getting hit for the most part.
Yeah. Giving up the reach, length, doesn't really give up or doesn't really throw out too much volume. And he has shown improved ability in the wrestling department. But then you're like, at the end of the day, it's like you're asking for Gaston Bolanos, accredited Muay Thai kickboxer, to go out there and shoot takedowns and get top control. It's all
Wiley Cat went 6 of 18, okay, and only got 6 minutes of control time.
Gaston's not shooting that many.
Gaston, and at average, it averaged at 1 minute per takedown completed on the 6 for 6 minutes, and the 18 attempted. Gaston's not shooting 3. And if he's to get 1 and get a minute of control time out of it, it's not going to do him any good.
Yeah, Lee's getting right back up. And it's just like, okay, maybe he shoots 4. And it's 4, and at best gets 2 or something. Well, you're probably not going to win that fight. And he also, he's not going to shoot out like a cannon like Hydra Mill did and just went complete like rampage mode. 42 significant strikes in like a minute.
That's crazy.
I mean, 40 of those 42 significant strikes were literally in like, it was like a dust ball, like the Tasmanian devil from like Looney Tunes. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. These are all things that like Gaston Bolanos will not do. I liked, because I had kind of discovered this guy long before he came to the UFC. Never thought he'd be the UFC. Followed him along in his Bellator career, everything like that. But I mean, you call a spade, right? The run in the UFC has not been very impressive. Cortavius Romeus, is he already cut? Because he's probably damn near close.
He is cut.
Did he get cut? Because he should be for losing to Gaston. Like
well,
that.
Even
That
Gaston,
was a damn close fight as well. Our butts were officially puckered on that one, but we pulled through, got the decision win. Quang Le has not looked great outside of really that win over Gaston Bolanos. I mean, Marcus McGee, whatever. Marcus
McGee's good.
He'd run through
But
Lee as well.
Like, smoked him. And didn't he shot a couple takedowns, but it was more so just this guy moves backwards, I'm gonna swarm him. That's what's gonna end up being similar. Marcus McGee obviously a lot better, but speaking of that Bellator run, like Gaston
losing to Marcus McGee.
Gaston was a minus 1100 favorite when he lost to Daniel Carey in Bellator. He was a minus 850 favorite when he lost to Solo Hatley Jr. in Bellator. Like he was a Bellator flop, and yet they've brought him over to the UFC where he's been able to go 2-2. Aaron Phillips, winless in the UFC. Cortavius Romeus, winless in the UFC. Both guys combined for 0-6 UFC record.
Yeah.
Jung Young Lee, I'll admit, Blake Bilder was 1-3 in the UFC, and Yitza, I believe, is 1-2 in the UFC right now. But like Yitza's not that bad, and Blake Bilder's a decent athlete. Like, I don't know, he's not good. He's not. Let's not mince words here. Not good, but against guys that aren't good, this kid's fine. Against Hydra Mill and Daniel Santos, what they both guys have in common is they're both hyper aggressive, come forward guys. Yeah. This is where he struggles. Now he's getting Gaston Bolanos, who's a counter puncher, who's slower with a square stance. I think he'll have a lot of success. Second fight on the card. I'm not looking to rebuild. I would if I had to. Not looking to rebuild, but I'd rather get this one out of the way because I got confidence in this kid. So if you're gonna burn me now, man.
Hondo P. All right, finally we got Luke Fernandez taking on Rodolfo Bellato. Luke Fernandez a minus 225 favorite to come back on Bellato, plus 190. Your thoughts?
I like Luke Fernandez. Again, it's 205 pounds, so you have to take it with a grain of salt that none of these guys are really all that good, and it's a really thin division, and they're not as good as athletes as 45ers, 35ers, 55ers. They're not as fast, and you rely on them for certain things, but just like bad heavyweight fighting, it's just sometimes no good. But Luke Fernandez is a legitimate prospect. I mean, he's 30 years old, so prospect's a bit of a weird label to put on him, but what he's done is he's acquired all these skills that I always say, would you rather make it to the UFC at 23, go 1-3, go 2-4, get cut? Or would you rather make it to the UFC at 28, 29, and actually win your fights in the UFC, right? So sometimes getting a little more mature and then coming over, that's the way to do it. And in Luke Fernandez's case is that he's a former college wrestler at Elizabethtown College over in New Jersey. He trains with Donte Rivera, a BJJ, a really good camp in Jersey, but also Donte Rivera is a high-level fighter at the time, back in the day. You're getting good wisdom. It seems like he's doing everything right. What I like about him is, like, as an amateur, he went undefeated as an amateur, right? Beat Reeves Davis. Who cares about that? He beat Damir Rapa. Damir Rapa was a junior college national champion, right? And now weighs 275 pounds. And yet he takes him down and smashes him from full mount. Easy money. As a pro, it's been much of the same. You could argue these guys aren't all that good, but they bring in UFC guys for him to wrestle and grapple, and he's been winning against them. Eric Anders, it's a boring match. It comes down to overtime. First takedown wins. He takes down Eric Anders. Against Phil Hawes. Phil Hawes is a junior college national champion out of Iowa Community College, same place that John Jones went to once upon a time. Same thing. He takes him down. He chokes him out with an anaconda. His wrestling is good. His submission grappling is pretty good, but he's got some God-given power, man. He hits you, you're going to go down. All of his wins are actually by knockout. He started off 3-0, knocks him out. Sorry, he's got one decision. Beats Greg Ellis for the CFFC title. Now, this Greg Ellis fights, like, this guy fights very mature. He doesn't throw in extended combinations. He doesn't rush in. He'll throw 2 punches to a body lock. Loves the body lock, up against the cage, work takedowns from there. In MMA, he doesn't have a ton of control time. He will get the fight to the ground. His opponents generally get back up, but he keeps wearing on you. But at some point, he touches his opponents, and they generally go down. Greg Ellis is just a short little left hook. And I mean, it's like a KO of the year contender, the way Ellis just goes out and flops to the canvas, but he hits hard. Christian Edwards, two good things here is one, Christian Edwards is a former training partner of John Jones, was once upon a time supposed to be a decent enough prospect, but is a big dude. And it's a 4-round title fight because it's CFFC and it wasn't competitive enough to warrant a 5th round, but his cardio looked good. Previous to that, he's smashing these guys pretty early. What's his cardio like? Well, he went 4 rounds against Christian Edwards and was getting takedowns in the 4th, was leaning on him, was grinding on him, was fighting like a mature veteran, and he was only 3-0 at the time, 4-0 at the time. So I do think he's a solid prospect. On the Contender Series, he won in 15 seconds. It doesn't tell you anything other than he does legitimately have some serious power. And that's going to play real good here because Rodolfo Bellato just can't take a punch. And by that, I mean, the first time he fought Vitor Petrino, he got knocked down in 25 seconds. The second time he fought Vitor Petrino, he did knock down Vitor. Vitor got back up and knocked him out halfway through the second round. More impressive, though, is Ihor Peteria had put him down. Clean knockdown. Jimmy Crute put him down. Clean knockdown. Paul Craig, the kick missed. And it apparently put him down for a clean knockout. Ended up getting a no contest for obvious reasons. But I think a light gust of wind would knock him out. Now, what does he do well? He's a big, strong, aggressive guy. But being aggressive only works if you've got durability. If you're trying to go punch for punch on a guy, you better hope he folds up. Because as soon as that punch comes and back at you, Bellato just cannot be trusted. Well, Bellato's big, he's strong. Maybe he'll muscle you to the ground where he's a black belt. Fernandez is a black belt too. And Fernandez wrestled in college and has a better overall grappling game, I believe, than Bellato. You know, he's a smarter fighter, higher ring IQ. And although it's a lot of basics, he sticks to advanced basics, which works on these idiots like this who are a little emotional and a little aggressive, and they come forward and they tend to make mistakes. If he gets hit by a left hook or a straight right, one of these overhands into a takedown, rocks him and puts him on his back, he's for a big, big, big problem. Does he have the heart necessary? Well, the way he kind of quit against Paul Craig, it's not certainly someone I want to put my money on. Jimmy Crute had him dead to rights. Jimmy Crute then gassed and he was able to take over. But against Luke Fernandez, I just don't think he makes those same little mistakes. Last but not least, his last fight against Navajo Sterling, right? Navajo's a big, tall kickboxer. Bellato should have been able to maybe get that fight to the ground, but not really, man. He went 1 for 4 on takedown. 2 for 6 on takedowns with 2:20 of control time. Navajo, meanwhile, took him down in the second round, spent 3.5 minutes on top of him. He was sitting there with Navajo Sterling, a kickboxer from New Zealand who's like 6'4". He's sitting there in guard, just not even really trying to get back up. Well, how do you think that's going to play out if Luke gets these takedowns? You think you're going to sweep? You think you're going to create space? You're going to overexert yourself, and you're either going to tire or you're going to get punched out on the way up. So I'm very thankful that this is the first fight on the card because I may lose some money here. If Luke Fernandez loses, I'm losing money. But I'd love to kick off this card on a right note. I'd love to get things going off with a nice win off the hop. And I think that this guy's done the right things. CFFC is name me a better regional scene other than ACA. Well, unless you're considering PFL
ACA
one.
is rigged.
And they're all on steroids. CFFC is legit. These guys from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, all very good states for fighting. Some guys from New Mexico tend to trickle over. This guy's done the right things. He's built his way up. He can wrestle. He can grapple. He's fought some okay level of guys. Who takes Rafael Bellato on in their debut? This isn't could they not find a more appropriate debut? Now they know he's good. And at 30, he's got to get a good win off the hop and then keep the momentum going. So when you watch tape on him, it's a lot of basics. I'm not going to lie. Nothing's overly whelming. Wow, he does this so good. It's everything together. He's an advanced generalist, fights with a high ring IQ. That's what makes him a dangerous matchup for Bellato. So Fernandez for me.
All right. Sorry, my nose is running a little bit. I'm dealing with a bit of a cold here. We are just about out of time. But before we go, him with the PRP.
PRP this week, we're going Max Holloway at the top. If you want to hedge, it's up to you. Just wait to see what we've got left going. And speaking of the guys that we also need to keep this thing still going, we're going to go with Caio Borralho. We're going to go with Raul Rosas Jr. We're going to go with Michael Johnson. I'm going to go with Bruno Ferreira, dog number 1. I'm going to take Cody Garbrandt. Not that anybody should believe that that's a great idea, but he will be dog number 2 for me. I got Donte Johnson. Don't love the money line, but he's a player. Ricky Turcios, dog number 3 for me. I'm going to take the alphabet, as Paul would say, but our Mongolian power puncher, Tumendemberel. People always shit on me for mispronouncing stuff in the comment section, but this one's legitimately hard, man. Cut me a little bit slack, right? We're going to go Mudaerji, 10-inch reach advantage. We're going to go with Rafael Tobias. Please just take him down. We're going to go with Jung Young Lee, who I like, and we're going to go with Luke Fernandez, who I like. So we've got 3 underdogs, and I like them. And then some favorites that we really just need to lock in and make sure that they come through as well. So wait for weigh-ins, because guys like Diyar came in at 210 one time, so fat and out of shape, and then fought awful. There's been cancellations before Donte Johnson's dropping down. No cancellation for him, though. Who else had to cancel the fight due to a bad weight cut? This is just the type of fight or card where you're going to want to make sure that your guy looks energized, because there's a whole lot of violence and pace is going to be key. So anyways, you can wait to lock in your picks. I'm going to go ahead and try to get the best value I can now, because I feel like a lot of the favorites are going to just kind of continue to grow by fight night. So best of luck to everyone from my side, and let's keep the good times rolling.
Yep, that is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. For Cody, I'm Paul saying goodbye. Good luck.